we're talking about how social media certainly can help you, but can also harm you in ways you may not know about. Let's talk about this more by welcoming Dr. Jason Deitch. You're a chiropractor in the San Francisco Bay Area, but you're also the founder of lookupamerica.org. And it's not just look up for our neck and back health. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Let's talk about lookupamerica.org. It really does aim to get people to focus on what's real in their lives and to just let social media really take a back seat. Why did you start it?
You know, I've been watching for several years now. Things like social media, Facebook, Instagram, devices get such a bad rap. And there are some things to be aware of, obviously. You know, as a chiropractor, the most obvious ones are, you know, people coming to us because they've got neck pain, back pain, or headaches from poor posture, looking down all the time. As a parent, I've got kids, and one of the most popular things I have to tell them all the time is, boys, look up.
Right.
So it became one of the more popular conversations in our household, let alone when you look around and see, I'll say, the overreaction to the negativity of these power tools. They really are communication power tools that have so many benefits. You know, I asked, when's the last time you paid a long distance phone bill? When's the last time you paid to have photos processed, you know, and waited a week? Or went to the post office to send grandma, you know, videos and had to pay postage? There are so many benefits to our ability. Anybody with a device can now literally create a message and have it go worldwide for free. There are so many upsides and benefits that I wanted to create a campaign that really taught people how to use these things in a positive way. And that's really the essence of why I created it.
The first time I was on lookupamerica.org, it was great to sort of have 5 easy steps. You walk me through the process. Can you outline those for our viewers?
I'd love to. This really is, to me, the equivalent of, you know, if somebody gives you a car and all you know how to do is hit the gas, there will be trouble. What you need to know how to do is put your hands on the steering wheel in order to drive it, in order to take control. So step number 1 is exactly that. People don't necessarily realize that they could unfollow the things that make them unhealthy. Seems obvious, but yet, you know, there's so many complaints. You know, why is all this stuff showing up? You know, there's so much negativity going on. Well, simple answer, unfollow the things that make you unhealthy. So that's step 1. Step 2 is the opposite. Make sure to follow those things that actually make you healthy. So when I open up Facebook or Instagram just about every morning when I wake up to check in on the world, I have curated and made sure that in my news feed or in my Instagram feed, I'm inspired. We have, you know, positive messages of inspiration, of being kind to each other, of, you know, the positive things we really need to focus on, especially in these crazy times. Step 3 is look up. And look up actually means 3 things. Number 1, it means to physically look up from your device. So pay attention to how much your postures, your positions, and the time you're in these really damaging physical positions from our body. You have to pay attention to that. 2, look up also means be more optimistic. I mean, there's nobody that can't agree that we are in unprecedented, insane times that have every justification for depressing us. I mean, things are unusual, to say the least. So we really have to be more conscious about looking up, being more optimistic, knowing that we can do something to make the world a better place, or at least make a difference in somebody's life. And then the third one is, especially if you're in a family or relationship of any kind, is to look up to the people you look up to. You know, your kids, your parents, coworkers. We have conversations, we have meals, we have meetings, we speak to each other with such disrespect because we're physically in each other's presence, but we're looking down at our devices. So that's step 3, is to look up. You can think of it as every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds if you're by yourself. And if you're with people, just be present, put your device down, and be with people who are physically in your presence. Step 4 really is to get connected with your tribes. I'm part of a network of hundreds of doctors around the world that are reaching millions of people. And much of it really is about connecting with those inspirational sources, we're training doctors and we give doctors content to in fact make a positive difference in their community. So it's really up to people to find those positive inspirational sources and connect with them, engage with them, sort of make positivity go viral, as opposed to what we sometimes watch, which is the negatives outweigh the positives. And the last one really is to be kind, be generous, and share the love. You know, we complain that there's all this negativity that's spread and goes viral, but we have every opportunity to make the good stuff go viral too. So we just say, you know what, let's make a conscious effort of flooding Facebook with positive inspirational messages that can make a difference in people's lives, and really use it as the positive power tool that it's meant to be.
I'm sure that you've seen studies and just talked to people, you know, in your daily life. You know, your iPhone tells you what your screen time average is. I am embarrassed at how many hours I spend on this thing every day. I tell myself, oh, well, that's for work. But look, it's not all for work. All too often, I'll think, oh, you know, my boss texted me. Let's see what she wants to say. I respond to her and then I say, no, let's just go check Instagram. Well, let's see what Twitter has for me. And then before you know it, 45 minutes has passed and I'm feeling lower than I did when I first got the text from my boss.
It's 100% true. And yet again, we have control of that. So, you know, like junk food, like, you know, some of our favorite shows or, you know, entertainment that may not be the most constructive and positive, there's really 3 steps to making social media healthy for you. Number one, you've got to pay attention to what you're subscribing to. So when you go to Instagram, you know there's good stuff, not necessarily all the comparison and envy stuff that we all have. 2, you got to really put some time limits on it. You know, screen time is a great attempt to say, you know, put some curbs on it. Unfortunately, because our music, our food, our entertainment, our phone, everything is on one device, it's difficult, but we do have the ability to control what it is that we're looking at. And then again, 3, make sure you watch your postures. You know, that's one of the most overlooked issues. There's an opioid epidemic out there primarily because of people having musculoskeletal pain. It's one of the things as chiropractors we're keenly aware of. One of the major culprits and causes for much of that pain is the unconscious positions. You walk around, you look around, whether you're online at Starbucks, whether you're in traffic, you see people with their necks cranked forward, looking down, and it causes serious damage to our spine, our nerve system, and causes unnecessary health problems that are preventable.
I think a lot about some of the people that I used to follow in the past on Instagram, and I'll focus on Instagram just because it's so visual. And, you know, I would follow, you know, a Hollywood starlet, right? Or someone who's a news anchor like I am. Inevitably, they had bigger houses, nicer cars, you know, more well-behaved children, right? Sort of everything that I wish my life was. And at first it felt great saying, oh, wow, she's, you know, got this closet full of clothes, or wow, she's driving a brand new car. Pretty quickly, though, that turns into like, oh, look, here she is with that closet of clothes. And oh, look, another new car. And I've really learned to, as soon as that, you know, sunshine, warm feeling of like, wow, that's great, ends for me, I click the unfollow button. And in a way, I think back to my old social media habits. I never broke up with anybody. It's like, once I followed you, you were mine forever. But that's not the case.
You know, this is not a new issue. Envy has been around as long as humanity's been around. Whether it was looking at magazines before, or watching gossip shows before, or just being out and about, watching people who have more than all of us. There's only a few people that have the most. And hopefully we're getting smart enough to know that, you know, it's the full package, that you may have a lot of physical material things, but behind the scenes, life isn't always so great. We've got to keep that in mind. That's not a social media exclusive issue. That's a humanity issue. And again, you know, the technology has so many positive benefits that I just I get upset and frustrated to see, you know, just so much negativity against a tool that has really made such a powerful, positive difference in so many people's lives.
You talk about the positive influence. I've actually made a point of seeking out people who, you know, are sort of average, right? Because I think so many people want to show their big fancy vacation, their big fancy car, their house. And now I am happy to find other women who are, you know, in their mid 40s like I am, have, you know, two ill-behaved children like I do who are struggling at distance learning plus full-time work plus managing a household. And sometimes when I see another mom posting in, ponytail and sweats with two screaming kids in the back and dinner not made, I'm like, that's me. And I feel better.
That's exactly the potential it has. There, especially in the healthcare field as well, there are really social groups that people who never had the ability, whether they're physically unable to be social, or in some cases antisocial, or in some cases, just have a difficult time connecting with people locally on common challenges, whether it's disease management, self-care, or any of the normal frustrations and issues like parenthood and careers and life and health. It does give us the ability to have a support system and to be able to connect with other like-minded people. Whether we're mentoring them, they're mentoring us. It gives us connection unlike any other, and especially with mental health these days, it is more accessible than it's ever been before. And again, it's a positive side effect of these technologies.
I will say, I think it's somewhat easy to unfollow someone I never knew personally in the first place, right? She has, 3 million followers. She's not going to miss me. Let's talk about the impact that our friends and our relatives can have on us mentally, even though we're not, back in the old days, right? We'd all gather around the kitchen table. And of course, this time of year, in an election year, it'd be a lot of fighting about politics. So that's not happening in those close quarters as much anymore, but you're getting a lot of it online. So if somebody has, let's say, an uncle who differs from them completely when it comes to, what's good for the country, and that uncle is making them feel bad about the choices they're making, or just it's a lot of vitriol, it can be very hard to sort of break up with a relative online.
These tools do allow us to unfollow. Now, unfollow doesn't mean unfriend. So if you look at Facebook as an example, for the millions of people that have an aunt or uncle or parent, for that matter, that may not have the same political views they do, which is every family out there for the most part, we have those curbs, we have those controls. We don't have to be victims of the fact that, yes, we're connected, but we don't need to listen to or see them sharing every meme that we disagree with every day, all day. So there are tools, there are, I'll say, sort of features within these technologies that if we knew how to use, how to steer, how to control what is in our face every day, we would be personally better off. So you don't have to be confrontational about it. There's a little button up on, your Facebook news feed. You can click it and it says unfollow. You're still friends with them. They can still communicate with you privately, but it's just a little bit more difficult for them to keep on clicking that share button and interrupting your good day with their need to influence others to their viewpoint.
Right. And finally, Doctor, I assume that you're going to point people toward lookupamerica.org. Tell us in just the few seconds we have left, what else people can expect to find there.
Basically, if you're a consumer, if you're a teacher, a parent, you can find and you can subscribe on our Facebook page to daily inspirational health reminders. It's a great way to have us in your face, reminding you to be inspired and to look at the bright side, to look up. And for other health professionals that want to join the network, there's a tab where you can learn how you can start making a positive difference in your community by daily sharing positive inspirational messages that help people remember to look up physically and look up emotionally. And I'll say look up socially, to be more responsible to the people that we're around.
All right, lookupamerica.org. Dr. Jason Deitch, founder of Look Up America, thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.